Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to go over using multiple layers in Flash. So I just want to get a quick review of that. So I've got a new Flash movie set up, nothing on the stage, and there's only one layer, and there it's an empty keyframe, so there's nothing on that keyframe. I'm going to go ahead and create a couple quick layers. And on the top layer here, I'll go ahead and put in a square, if I can spell it. Next layer, I'll put a circle. And the bottom layer I'll put a star. So now I have 3 layers. I'm going to click on frame 1 of my square layer and I will draw a square. I'm going to go to frame 1 of my circle layer, use my oval tool, change the color, and I'll draw an oval. Then I'll go to frame 1 of my star layer, change the color again, choose a polystar over on the properties panel. I'll go to tool settings, options, star, 5-point star is fine, draw a star, and I'll select it and just move it so we can see all the objects. So now I have a square, a circle, and a star, and each one is on a separate layer. If I click on my keyframe for my circle layer, my circle or oval is selected. If I click on frame 1 of my star layer, my star is selected. Whenever your Flash movie is going to have multiple parts, and it pretty much always will, you want to get in the habit of using multiple layers, especially if they're going to be animating in different ways. If we were to put all of these shapes, by the way, they're called merge shapes, but if we had all of these shapes together on one layer, you really run the potential of these shapes merging into one another, and it really can kind of mess them up. So it's very beneficial that each one is on a separate layer. Now if you get overwhelmed by looking at a bunch of layers at once, you can hide them by just clicking on the little view button here, the eye. So I've hidden 2 of my 3 layers so that I can only see the one that I want to work with, and then I can turn those back on when I want to see them again. Now since they're layers, they can be treated as such. I can go ahead and move these so that they are overlapping. Oops. Let me show you another little problem. Let me Control Z to undo this. And the layer that you're working on should be the unlocked layer. So if I select frame 1, now my square is selected, so I can move that. Very carefully, I'm going to click on my circle and I can move just that. And very carefully I can click on my star and just move that. But that's pretty risky there. So I often advise locking the layers down except the one you want to manipulate. So then you won't accidentally mess up one of your previous or one of your other layers. So keep just one layer unlocked at a time to minimize mistakes. So now you can see the star is behind the oval is behind the square, and I can rearrange my layers just by clicking and dragging. So now my star is on top, and sure enough, the star is on top. So you can just click and drag your layers to put them in the order that you want. You can lock down the layers that you don't want to edit, and you can hide the layers that you don't want to see at that particular moment. They're still part of the movie, they're just hidden from view while you're working. There's a little button down here to also create folders. So you can create folders for groups of layers that are related. As we create some bigger Flash movies, this is really going to come in handy. And it's pretty easy. You just click the button to create a new folder, and then you can take your objects, your layers, and you can move them into that particular folder. So now all of these are inside of a folder, and I can collapse that. So I still have my 3 folders, but they're just not taking up as much room in my timeline.